time for Ask the Lawyer, as we present on Wednesday mornings with Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. Let's see if your question gets attention today. And let's also tell you how to submit a question for future consideration in case you have a question about the law that's always been bothering you. Would you please help me now welcome Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Todd. How are you doing this morning?
Just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for asking.
Oh, sounds like there's something going on in the background there. You must be in traffic.
Just going down the street. I'm in a parking lot.
I see. Okay, good. Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you're doing the same. I know you'll do the safe thing every time. Because you see far too many accidents, for example, that happen when somebody isn't being safe. So I know you'll always err on the side of caution. Bruce, how are things in the office, at home? How's the family? That kind of thing, first of all.
Everybody's doing well. I appreciate your asking.
Yeah, because every week I like to make sure nobody's gotten sick. That's still a question we have to ask of each other for at least a little while longer.
That's true.
And so glad to hear that.
Yeah, everybody's doing well. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, let's get right into the question of the day. Are you ready?
I am ready, Todd.
Good. Here we go. It says, I was riding on a motorcycle that was rear-ended, and I sustained significant injuries, including a broken leg, which required surgery. The at-fault driver only had $10,000 in coverage, and the motorcycle driver only had $25,000 in uninsured motorist coverage. I live at home with my parents, and we have 3 vehicles with full coverage. My bills have exceeded both the at-fault driver and the motorcycle driver's coverage. A friend told me that car insurance wouldn't cover you on a motorcycle. Is that true? Can I get help? Well, you can always get help from the biker's lawyer. That much I know. Bruce, tell us what you think about this situation.
Well, it's a very interesting question. And normally what the questioner is saying is true is that automobile insurance doesn't cover motorcycles. However, we talk about this coverage very frequently, which is called stacking uninsured motorist coverage.
Right.
So if you own a car that has uninsured motorist coverage, it would not apply to your motorcycle unless you got stacking uninsured motorist coverage. And then the stacking would, like if they have 3 vehicles in their home, and each one of them has stacking uninsured motorists, you add them all together. For instance, if there's 100,000 over 300,000 of uninsured motorist coverage on each vehicle, you would multiply that by 3, and all of a sudden you have 300,000 over 900,000 of uninsured motorist coverage.
I see.
And that would be in addition to the $10,000 from the at-fault and the $25,000 of uninsured motorist coverage.
Yeah.
On the motorcycle.
Well, that would make a big difference too.
Yeah, and it's a very important coverage, and also it's a very inexpensive coverage. Unfortunately, when you ask your insurance agent, they don't give you good advice. They don't tell you, hey, make sure you get stacking uninsured motorist coverage. I never understood why, but you can't get anything better to protect you and your family than stacking uninsured motorist coverage.
One would have to assume, and I'm just a layperson making a wild guess here, that it just might not be much of a money maker for the insurance company, so they push the stuff that makes them money, in other words.
You're probably hitting the nail on the head, Todd.
Yeah. Sounds like he was pretty seriously injured, and $35,000, and so far what we know to be covered, that's a blink of the eye in the emergency room. So this is important to find out just what kind of full coverage exists with the parents' vehicles, right?
Exactly. And again, if they have stacking uninsured motorist coverage, then it'll go to that person's benefit, and he'll be able to get his bills paid and,
Right.
and collect for his pain and suffering and inconvenience
Lost wages.
and all the other damages that he's entitled to.
Sounds like the kind of thing you really should have a professional get into and do the heavy lifting for you. He's already got enough trouble managing his recovery. He doesn't need to be dealing with insurance companies.
Yeah, and please recall, Todd, that I had, mentioned to you several times in the past, I'm more than willing to answer anyone's call and give them advice to their insurance coverage.
That's a good point. If you're curious as to what you have, because it can be confusing to the average person, just give a call to your office. I'm going to give that number in a second, and you'll be glad to go over it.
That'd be great, Todd. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce. Going to let you get about your day because I know you're a busy, busy guy. And once again, we thank you so much for weighing in on this week's question.
Okay. Take care, Todd. Have a great week.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce L. Scheiner, attorney for the injured. And a very satisfying answer this week, I feel. Now, if you've got a question you'd like to submit, simply go to our website and type in the keyword Bruce, and then give us all the information you're comfortable giving. We'll pass it along to Bruce L. Scheiner and see what happens next. If you have questions about your insurance policy, like I just mentioned a moment ago, or you've got a situation that needs immediate help, please call the Port Charlotte office of Bruce L. Scheiner and Associates at 941-743-7777, 743-7777, and tell them that Todd Matthews sent you from Kicks Country 92.9.